Hi there, I'm Dr. Victoria Cloud and I'm here explaining accounting. In this video, I'm going to take you through the accounting treatment for a depreciable non-current asset. This particular example is motor vehicles, but it could work for any depreciable non-current asset. And we're interested in recording the disposal, and a disposal can happen through a sale of that asset, or it could be if that asset is fully depreciated and we want to remove it from the books of accounts. So the information given to us in this question is about Harrington Limited, and we're told that there's some motor vehicles account. So there's an opening balance, closing balance, and then we're told there's an accumulated depreciation account, and we're given the opening balance and closing balance for that as well. We're told what the depreciation expense for the period is for all the motor vehicles. We're told what the gain on sale of motor vehicles is. So there was a motor vehicle sold during that period, the sale of a motor vehicle during that period. In order to account for this, we need to do a journal entry. And for depreciable non-current assets, we're interested to record, so debit cash, or it could be, or a receivable, or some other proceeds. That's unknown. We also have to write off the accumulated depreciation on that non-current asset, because if we remove the non-current asset from the balance sheet of the company but leave the accumulated depreciation, it's being deducted across zero. So we end up with a negative if we were to retain that accumulated depreciation balance. So we need to remove that portion. We'd have a gain or a loss on the sale. The question told us there's a gain of 10,000. Now, keep in mind that the gain or loss is really just a balancing item in this journal entry. It doesn't represent the cash. It just represents the difference between the carrying amount, which is the cost. So let's say this 130 minus the accumulated depreciation on that asset. So that's equal to the carrying amount. And the gain or loss just represents, is that the proceeds that we received, is it greater than the carrying amount, then we get a gain. Or if it's less than that amount, loss. So we're just using that as a balancing item. The gain or loss does appear in the income statement, otherwise known as profit and loss of the company. So let's have a look. We need to solve for both the accumulated depreciation written off, and we need to solve for the cash proceeds for this question. So we start off by solving for the accumulated depreciation that's been written off. So the question says there's an opening balance, the accumulated depreciation on motor vehicles of 230, the closing balance 290, and it's accumulated depreciation. It's a contra asset. It's credit natured, so that's why it's got the opening balance on the credit side, and this closing balance here 290 on the debit side, that's just merely a kind of summation of what the running balance is. And then the next period, which for this company, so on 1 January, we just carry down that 290. That becomes the new opening balance. So let's solve for the accumulated depreciation written off. We need to put in everything on the debit side, and then we can solve for, on the credit side, that's where, due to the sale, there would be a write down. So accumulated depreciation account increases during the period when we record some depreciation expense. And the question told us that the depreciation expense is 150. So the debits should be equal to the credits. So the credit side, so the opening balance 230 plus depreciation expense 150 comes to 380. So the debit side should be 380 as well. So to work out how much is the write down due to the sale, it's the 380 minus 290, so that gives us 90. So the accumulated depreciation on the sold motor vehicles must be 90. So we can now take that 90 into that journal entry to help us to solve for the cash proceeds. So here we go, we've popped in here 90,000 accumulated depreciation written off. So we can now solve because the credits should be equal to the debits in this journal entry. So the gain plus the original cost of the motor vehicles comes to 140,000. And then we minus the 90,000 of accumulated depreciation that we just calculated. So that gives us cash must have been 50,000 that was paid for these motor vehicles. So that's it. We've solved for that 50,000. So thanks for watching this video. Check out my other videos about explaining accounting.